Have you ever wondered how life on Earth went from tiny single-celled organisms to the incredible diversity we see today, including us? That story is called evolution. It's one of the most important ideas in science, and in the next 10 minutes, we're going to break it down in a way that's simple, clear, and unforgettable. So what exactly is evolution? At its core, evolution is change in living things over time. It explains how species develop, adapt, and sometimes disappear. The key mechanism driving this process is natural selection, a concept made famous by Charles Darwin in the 19th century. But the story begins billions of years earlier. Life first appeared on Earth over 3.5 billion years ago. These earliest forms were simple single-celled organisms. Over millions of years, random mutations in DNA, small copying errors in genetic material, created tiny differences between individuals. Some of these differences helped organisms survive better in their environment. Those with helpful traits were more likely to live, reproduce, and pass those traits on. This process, repeated generation after generation, slowly shaped life into new forms. That's evolution in action. As time passed, these simple organisms diversified. About 600 million years ago, life exploded in variety during the Cambrian period, when complex animals with shells, legs, and eyes appeared in the oceans. Fish came next, followed by amphibians that crawled onto land, reptiles that thrived in dry environments, and eventually mammals and birds. Each new form wasn't created overnight, but developed gradually through countless small changes. One of the best ways we can see evolution is through the fossil record. Fossils reveal creatures that lived millions of years ago and often show the links between different groups. For example, fossils of feathered dinosaurs show how birds evolved from reptile ancestors. Transitional fossils like Tiktaalik reveal how fish evolved into amphibians, developing limbs that could support them on land. These snapshots in stone tell the story of change over time. But fossils aren't the only evidence. DNA, the code of life, also confirms evolution. By comparing genetic material across species, scientists can see how closely organisms are related. Humans, for example, share over 98% of our DNA with chimpanzees, proving a common ancestor millions of years ago. Even more surprising, we share genetic building blocks with plants, bacteria, and all living things, showing we are part of the same tree of life. So how does natural selection actually work? Imagine a population of animals, like rabbits. Some are born with slightly thicker fur because of random mutations. If the climate gets colder, those with thicker fur survive more easily. They have more offspring, and over many generations, the population shifts toward thicker fur overall. That's natural selection. The environment selects traits that help survival. Another important part of evolution is speciation, the process by which one species splits into two. This often happens when populations become separated. Imagine birds on an island cut off from the mainland. Over thousands of years, they adapt to their new environment in different ways. Eventually, they become so different they can no longer interbreed with the original group. At that point, they're a new species. Multiply this process across millions of years, and you get the incredible variety of life on Earth today. Of course, evolution also includes extinction. More than 99% of all species that ever lived are now gone. Dinosaurs are the most famous example, wiped out 66 million years ago by an asteroid impact. But extinction isn't the end of the story. It clears the way for new species to rise. After the dinosaurs vanished, mammals quickly evolved and eventually gave rise to primates, and ultimately humans. Speaking of humans, where do we fit in? Our evolutionary story goes back millions of years in Africa. Early human ancestors like Australopithecus walked on two legs but still had ape-like features. Over time, brains grew larger, tools were developed, and species like Homo erectus spread out of Africa. Around 300,000 years ago, our own species, Homo sapiens, appeared. We inherited traits shaped by countless generations before us, the result of evolution's long, slow process. The beauty of evolution is that it is not just history, it is still happening today. Bacteria evolve resistance to antibiotics. Insects evolve resistance to pesticides. Even humans are evolving. For example, some populations have developed genetic adaptations for digesting milk into adulthood or thriving at high altitudes. Evolution is not a finished story. It's ongoing. So, in under 10 minutes, here's the big picture. Evolution is the process that explains how life changes over time. Through natural selection, random mutations, and adaptation, species emerge, thrive, or disappear. The evidence is everywhere, in fossils, in DNA, and in the diversity of life all around us. It is the unifying story of biology, connecting every organism on Earth to a shared history. From single-celled organisms in ancient seas to humans exploring the stars, evolution explains how we got here and reminds us that we are still part of life's ever-changing journey. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to How True for more big ideas explained fast.